Hey everyone, happy Monday. It's also
Happy
St.
St. Patty's Day. Yeah.
Patrick's Day. For some people, it's just a regular old mindful Monday. For other people, it's a motivational Monday. But if you're on Say That channel, you know that it's the Monday Rundown. Woo!
Say that. Say that.
um, so one of the
Mondays
things
are.
that we love about the Monday rundowns is the fact that we get to talk about all these things that we don't get to talk about on our Wednesday shows. So Wednesdays are really for entrepreneurship and business. Mondays, we get to talk about any and everything. You guys have been sending us some really great topics, so please send those in, because what we do is we try to answer them for ourselves, and then we look to other content creators, other thought leaders in the subject area, so that way we can hear what they have to say and then all learn and grow together.
Absolutely. Mondays are definitely a lot of fun. Let's dive into today's topic. Oh,
Is a happy life really what we need? Hmm. Great question. Um, all I keep saying to myself, happy wife, happy life, happy wife. The same.
oh, I got to send you a shirt about that. That's so
Oh,
interesting. You just brought that up. A guy
well,
had a very interesting perspective on that.
anyway, so it's just because it said happy life in the question. And so that was my first thought, just because I've heard it a million times. And I I mean, the thing is I go back to happiness just being fleeting. So happiness is a moment. It doesn't last forever, and it's usually in relationship to something that happens externally to you. Whereas joy is something that you bring, right? Like that joy is something internal that you can bring to an environment, a place, a space, a circumstance that you're in. Like you can bring joy to that. You may not be able to bring happiness to it, but you can bring a joy to it. Um, so that's where my mind goes with this question. And so I don't think, um, I don't like happiness is just fleeting to me. So I don't think you can ever really have a happy life. You can have a life full of happy moments. There can be joy, but life is life. Life, you know the saying, life be lifing. So there's always going to be moments that are of struggle and challenge and difficulty. That is a part of life. I don't. If we were always having good things happen to us, we really wouldn't appreciate it. It's because we have the challenges why the good things are as good as they are, or the sweet moments are as sweet as they are. I don't know. I'm not trying to get too philosophical, but that's where I am on this.
Hmm. I would say, yeah, the need part of the question is what stands out to me. I think what we need to help us recognize, like you said, the happier moments or happier times in life is the contrasting moments. And there's a woman I listen to quite often, and her perspective on this is without these, and I'll use the term she uses, contrasting moments, the evolution of everything wouldn't be. If you and just for argument's sake, I guess if you got everything you thought you wanted, those things are those things come from the points where you didn't have the things you thought you wanted. So no, I don't think a happy life is what we need. I think it can be the result of certain ways of being, but what we uh, need is, and it's one of my favorite words now, is awareness around around ourselves and what we want, and through that awareness you can, to your point, find happiness. um and even I wanted to touch on something you said about the joy factor, but I think it'd be like semantics into terms of in the sense of the word itself. But yeah, no, to stick to just the question, is a happy life really what we need? No, it's probably really what we desire. But again, I think that that comes from recognizing there's probably some point, like somebody knows that they want to be healthy, but that or want to be yeah, they want to be healthy, but that comes probably from a point where you're sick. Like you don't know you really want to be healthy until you're sick or you're coughing. That's the point that makes you realize, oh man, I preferred this when I wasn't this way. So yeah, I don't think it's a necessity. I think it's just a result of finding yourself in points where you aren't happy.
I agree. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, It's not just me and you who are going to be talking about this. We are going to go to our friends over at the School of Life. Look, School of Life, if you ever watch these, please
Create a
know
video about us.
appreciate you. Yes. And like shout us out because we really appreciate you guys. We love the way that in which you guys break down seemingly difficult topics. And so here we go with another one of your breakdowns.
Let's do it. Take us to school.
We typically assume that the ultimate aim of all our efforts is to have a happy life. And judged on this basis, many of us have to admit, in the silence of our minds, that we're not really doing very well. There's so much that every year, and perhaps almost every day, comes along to spoil our ambitions. There's a power struggle at the office. There's a problem in our families. Our friends feel superficial or disengaged. Our anxieties don't abate, and our relationships are scratchy or distant. Our difficulties generate a basic layer of misery, but then a secondary layer is swiftly added to it, caused by an underlying sense that our unhappiness represents a fundamental violation of life's true purpose. Not only are we unhappy that we are unhappy, in the light of our tightly held belief in the possibility of a state of enduring satisfaction. We're both sad and crushed that we have failed at the single most important goal open to all sane and ambitious humans. It's in such moments of knotted misery that we may gain some relief from reframing our situation. While we may not be able to overcome our burdens themselves, it does lie in our power to alter what these burdens have to mean to us. We may not have to take them as proof of our stupidity or ill-adjustment. They can be signs that we're destined to have interesting lives rather than calm ones. Lives marked by a high degree of exploration, psychological understanding, and striving, rather than settled certainty and equilibrium. What we lack in terms of contentment, we may make up for in terms of insight and experience. We, the often troubled ones, the typically anxious ones, the ones who frequently reach the end of a day as exhausted and shaken as if we'd crossed mountains, we might judge our complicated situations with a new, rueful kind of pride. We belong to a distinctive and in its way estimable cohort. We're always going to find a cloud on our horizons. We'll never spend more than half an hour before being visited by some kind of distemper. We're never going to accept things as they are or make totally wise choices around love or work. But this doesn't perhaps have to be the measure of everything. We don't need to be constantly offended by our agitations. Our day-to-day troubles don't have to be the yardstick by which we judge the value of our lives. Given where we've come from and how we're constituted, we were never going to be happy in any obvious way. But perhaps a good life can in the end be compatible with being fairly perturbed most days of the week. Perhaps it doesn't matter that a relationship has failed once more. Perhaps it isn't appalling that our business doesn't deliver us the returns we might have had in our old job. We've stretched ourselves. We've learned to raise our voices. We've developed courage. We don't have to see marks of grief and trouble as some kind of a violation of a pristine contract, but as the logical and immovable consequences of our stubborn and subtle natures interacting with the complexities of existence. We're sometimes frightened into reorienting our lives by being asked to contemplate how we might feel about them from the vantage point of our deathbeds. But if on this bed we were to look back at a roller coaster of emotions and events, we might have got married for the 5th time recently, we might smile to ourselves and, to the beeping of the heart monitor beside us, say, with wisdom and compassion, it wasn't a calm life for sure. It wasn't for the most part even a happy one, but heaven knows it was a truly and properly interesting one. And with this as our measure, we might meet our end with all the satisfaction and self-acceptance we could hope for.
I'll let you begin.
The thing that first off, again, I love what these guys do and how they put out what the content they put out. The part that jumped out is I remember, and I know I've never been diagnosed, so for anyone who's ever been, considered actually depressed is going through that. I do remember points where I considered myself as such, even whether it was like being in therapy and describing that to my therapist. And something that I would often find myself stumbling over was the idea if I was mad that I was sad. And she would always highlight that for me, in terms of just recognizing that it's okay, because it is an emotion that everyone goes through periods of identifying themselves as sad. But to be upset or to be sad that you were sad was the thing she really wanted me to. I'm actually going to use a term we used from last week, mature through, because it was just a lack of understanding that it is something that everyone goes through. And I just couldn't understand that. I thought there was this idea of absolute. Actually, you led with that before we actually watched the video. Just this idea that people didn't get sad. Everyone isn't sad, or everyone doesn't have moments of sadness. And I just, in my lack of maturity around emotions, didn't understand that. I saw it as something that you shouldn't be, and somehow I was failing or something was wrong with me because I found myself sad at points. And in my new or now understanding, it's okay when I am. And what's great is what's great about that is it probably means there's something I care about, and I have an opportunity to dive deeper into not necessarily the sadness, but whatever it is that I believe I'm sad about, so I can find ways to change it if it's something that needs to be changed, or just let myself be okay in that experience. Because I know that no emotion is a constant. Nothing stays. Things are always changing. Like life is always changing and moving. So I think that's the part that the video that really stood out to me. Just this idea of being sad because you're sad, or being angry or something because you're sad.
Yeah, I think they just further emphasize the point that you were making earlier. You can go through different emotions, and
Yeah.
I forget the word that you says. It's probably something that Abraham Hicks says, but
Nice.
Contrast. Yeah, like
Yeah.
you need the contrast. You need the contrast.
Yeah. How do you know what you do want if you don't know what you don't? Literally, she uses the example of a buffet, and she goes, no one goes to the buffet, or she goes, imagine going to a buffet, and you're there going, get rid of that, get rid of that, get rid of that. She goes, you don't do that. You go there, and what you do is you look for the things you like, you put that stuff on your plate, and you keep it moving. But she goes, imagine if you did go to a buffet and you spent your time there looking for the things you don't want. And maybe we do comment on, oh God, I don't want to eat that. But your most of your focus is on the things about the buffet that you do want to put on your plate. And she goes, if we could take that approach towards life, you'd find yourself, you wouldn't spend as much time as you probably do sometimes focusing on things you don't like. Let's say even in a person, if you could focus on the aspects of a person you do like, the things about them that you want to take with you, or that you like about them, it makes relationships a lot easier and better as a whole.
Truth. Well, this was great. Please let us know if you also agree with this. If there was something that resonated with you, let us know in the comments. We read all of the comments.
Absolutely.
Again, like, share, subscribe, ring the notification bell. You don't want to miss an episode. You don't want to miss a post that we make. We're trying to build community, and we are so excited that you're part of the community that we are creating.
Say that, nation. Say that, nation. We appreciate you guys.
That's right. We'll see you next week. But until then, as always, remember that you deserve a good life. Say that.
You guys have an amazing week and a fun St. Patrick's Day. Stay safe, people. We'll see you soon. Bye, guys.